All right, I'm John Breeding. It's July 1st, 2015 in Austin, Texas. It's summertime. And one of the themes of my work has always been control. And part of Psychetruth's mission certainly is challenging psychiatric control of people's lives. That's been a big part of my work, is challenging psychiatric drugging of children, which is a major control dynamic, challenging involuntary commitment, forced incarceration, that kind of thing. But the general theme of control is a big one, and I have a new little article. You can find it on my website. It's called Resisting Control. And it's just a little reminder about something that I learned a long time ago, was that from a parenting educator, that it's more important for children to resist control than to have things go well in their lives. Do you get that? It's more important for children to resist parents or teachers telling them when and how they need to do things than it is to be successful and get a good grade in school, for example. I've seen this over and over again, when parents and kids spend 2 or 3 hours wrangling over homework that if it was just handled might take 10 or 20 minutes to do. And parents get so frustrated, but oftentimes it's mostly because they don't understand that it's not about the homework, it's about the struggle to resist control. Why? Because human beings have a natural quality called self-determination. We want to be in control, in charge of our own lives. Children want to be the boss of their own lives. We are self-determining, autonomous creatures who want to be in charge of our own lives. We don't like being told what to do, being controlled, right? Now, there's a whole other conversation about what's the proper use of authority and rank, right? But the point here is that as much as possible, you want to support autonomy and self-determination because that's human nature. And unfair use of rank causes revenge. And it's more important for children to resist control than have things go well in their lives. Understanding that can explain a lot. My first book is The Wildest, Colts Make the Best Horses. And what that means is spirited children make spirited adults, right? That's it. Back in graduate school, I learned about behavior modification. That was a big theory, B.F. Skinner, and modern versions of that, right? And behavior management, right? I never liked it much, and I've liked it less and less over the years because it's a direct affront to the principle of self-determination. It's all based on the idea that if I can pull the strings and get you to do what I want for your own good, right? And of course, psychiatric drugs are ultimate control mechanism, right? But let's just take a look at this thing a little bit further, right? Here's a revealing look at the word manage or manager that I learned from the poet David Whyte. Whyte says that the word manager comes from the Italian maneggio and the French manège. They mean the training, riding, and handling of a horse. I like that. The wildest colts make the best horses, Training, managing, behavior management, case management. Comes from handling a horse, managing a horse. Here's what Whyte says. It's strange to think that the whole spirit of management is derived from the image of getting on the back of a beast, digging your knees in and heading it in a certain direction. The word manager conjures images of domination, command, and ultimate control, and the taming of potentially wild energy. It also implies a basic unwillingness on the part of people to be managed, a force to be corralled and reined in. All appropriate things if you wish to ride a horse, but most people don't respond very passionately or very creatively to being ridden. And the words "giddy up there" only go so far in creating the kind of responsive participation we now look for. Children don't like to be ridden, to be nagged, to be controlled and dominated. They like to be treated with respect and to be supported in their self-determination as much as possible. And here's another one from Jack Turner, mountain guide Jack Turner. Somebody asked him, what exactly do you mean by wild? I mean something that's self-willed, autonomous, self-organized. Basically, it's the opposite of controlled. You can see wildness in the movement of glaciers. You can track it in the Orion Nebula. Wildness is everywhere. It's in this cosmos, it's in our immune system, it's in our lungs, it's in our gut. Much of what we consider us is in fact not us. We breathe and wildness comes in and we don't control it. Take a breath. Your children come into your life. You do not control them. So if it's true that our true nature contains this kind of wildness, my own work is bet on the notion that it is. My favorite parenting idea comes from my Wildest Colts book, It's called To See Your Children Through the Eyes of Delight. The choice over and over again is to tame or to trust, right? You have to tame this wild child and civilize them, or do you trust that their wildness will develop into a spiritedness that's powerful and thoughtful and effective and able to question authority and self-determining and discipline in the sense of self-discipline? Yeah, I trust it, man. I tell you, I can vouch for it. I got 3 emerging adults. My latest book, one of my latest books is called Leaving Home, the journey from birth to emerging adulthood. And I've got a lot of 3 in my own life, emerging adults. There are wild colts that are spirited horses and determining their own lives. They're going off to New York and Beirut and all over the world and doing exciting things. Because they're not subject to the treacherous leavings. One chapter in my Leaving Home book is called Treacherous Leavings. Because there's a lot that's treacherous about coming into our age society, not the least of which is that a large percentage of young adults get put on psych drugs. They get suppressed. The purpose of psych drugs is to suppress and control and shut down. And the percentage of kids in college, unbelievable. 40% of people seeking help in college are already taking psych drugs, prescribing themselves for each other. That's treacherous leavings, and that is a shame and a disgrace. Doesn't need to happen that way. Especially if from the beginning you can trust that the wildest colts make the best horses, spirited children make spirited adults. That the true nature of children and people includes self-determination. My other parenting book is called True Nature and Great Misunderstandings, and there's a quote in the face page there. The wildest colts make the best horses, but there's another one by Paul Valéry that says, a difficulty is a difficulty is a light. An insurmountable difficulty is a sun. A difficulty is a light. It's pointing towards something. It's an indicator of energy in the child, right? An insurmountable difficulty is a sun. You don't tame the sun. You may be able to build a solar panel that learns how to use that energy to run a system, right? But that's by cooperating with it and surrendering to it and learning how to work with it. An insurmountable difficulty is a sun. It's a robust being that is telling you you're not going to control it with your puny efforts to think that you can control and dominate and determine my life. I'll show you, right? What we need to do is to recall and hold the image of a child or adolescent as a self-willed, autonomous, self-organizing young adult. That is success. And it is a very far cry from the role of drug-dependent mental patient. Behavioral management is way less important, right? Than something like maturity coaching. It's like, okay, you're in charge of your own life. What are your goals? What are your strategies? Is that working? Is that not working? I'm here to support you. Help you look at it. Help you figure it out. If I see that you've been hurt or in distress in some ways, I'll play the role of protecting and safeguarding while you figure it out and get those hard feelings out, right? But it's your life. And if I'm lucky enough to be able to coach and encourage you on occasion, I'll do that. And I'll be lucky enough in the meantime to just be delighted and in awe that you can have this big life and these close relationships. See each other with the eyes of delight and understand that the true nature of people includes not only loving closeness and affection, but also self-determination. And we can have both. We can have the close relationships and our own lives. So that's it for today. Peace out.